The movie starts with a city full of festivals in action, and we see this guy, Walter, sprinting while he's running from a gang because he's got some majorly dangerous info. So he's trying to ghost them any way he can, and he ducks in quick to stash a package in a mailbox and heads right back out. But they spot him. And the second he tries to cross the street, a car comes out of nowhere and takes him out. And the gang tosses him, but they don't find the file, so they just leave him and bounce. Then we see this guy, James, who's in the Navy. SEALs, and he's training the rookies, and you can tell he's a total hard ass. And he's yelling at them because he thinks they're slackers who can't even handle staying underwater. So he orders them back in, and before he can even finish, he gets a call from the cops. He ignores it at first, but once he hears that, it's about his dad, so he drops everything and heads over right away. He sees his dad's body and finds out he died in a car crash. James is devastated. He really loved his dad. Then we head to Ohio to James's place. We see he's married to Layla, and they have kids. It's clear she really loves him and is worried. She notices he's down, and when she asks, he tells her his dad passed. She's crushed and upset. He kept it from her. She tells him to call his brother Johnny for the funeral. James isn't feeling it because he hasn't seen his brother in 10 years. But she's not having it. In another city, we see Johnny, who's a cop. He gets home and finds his girlfriend, Valentine, really upset. She's packing her bags and saying she's officially done with him because he doesn't care about the relationship and won't change. He promises her he'll change, but she's already over it. He takes her car and leaves, and that night he's sitting alone, pressed. He gets a call from Layla introducing herself. She tells him there's some big news, and that his dad, Walter, died. Johnny acts cold because he wasn't even close with his dad. He goes into the bathroom and suddenly sees gang members who were chasing his dad. They're cornering him with guns and asking about the file. He tells them he doesn't know anything and that he cut his dad off ages ago, but they aren't buying it. They start making death threats and reveal they're part of the dangerous Yakuza gang. Johnny jumps them and shows off some insane skills. Even though they're strapped and tough, he keeps at it until he takes them out. One of them drops a photo of his mom, and seeing it brings back memories of her getting killed right in front of him. That's why he dipped. The next day, a ton of gangs show up for the funeral. We see James's sister, Nana. She spots Johnny while he's saying what's up to James's kids. The brothers start beefing, and even though the priest tells them to chill, they get right back into it. Then their Uncle Peter shows up, the guy running the whole family. He's a huge deal, basically the governor of the city. Then James and Johnny head back home and grab a bite together. Johnny says he's got a feeling their dad was murdered. This really pisses James off because he doesn't want to deal with old drama. Johnny blames his brother for ditching him when their mom died. James storms out and Johnny follows him, asking for help because he feels like there's a whole conspiracy going on. James says no. They get into it, and he just leaves him there. Johnny hangs out at his bar and gets wasted, and some girl hands him a pretty strong drink. Then a guy from the gang whose boss is this guy named Kai shows up and tells him to come with. Johnny says no, but then he gets dizzy and blacks out. When he wakes up, Kai is right there in his face. He asks him why he's back in town after the mess he made back then, and how he messed up a bunch of his guys. Johnny won't say a word, and refuses to leave too. Kai drags him, marks his neck, and gives him 7 days, or he's dead. Then he dumps him on the beach. Meanwhile, at the precinct, we see James asking to see the chief to find out exactly what went down with his dad, Walter. But he finds out the security cams were down when it happened. Plus, the car that hit him isn't registered, so there's zero evidence. So James asks to pick up his dad's belongings. He's looking pretty suspicious that this wasn't just some random accident. While he's going through the stuff, he finds a note with some weird cryptic words on it. He keeps it, and meanwhile, we see Johnny made it to Walter's office. He goes in looking for any leads and checks the place out, but doesn't find anything major. Suddenly, he hears someone inside the office, and a little kid pops out. As soon as Johnny asks him something, the kid gets spooked and bolts, so Johnny chases him. The kid is super fast, but Johnny doesn't quit and keeps chasing until he catches him. He finds out his name is Becca and starts asking why he was in his dad's office. Becca admits he was working for Walter, helping him out, sending messages, and taking photos. And Walter's last request was for him to work at a catering company. Johnny's confused and doesn't get why. Then they head back to the office. Meanwhile, James is at the crime scene. He notices a shop nearby with security cameras, so he goes in to ask the owner for the footage. but the guy refuses to help him. So James beats him up and takes the footage by force. We're back at Walter's office, and Johnny notices the skateboard has a secret spot, and he finds plans to build a casino. And that's banned in the city. And he hits up his sister Nana, who's working as an assistant for their Uncle Peter. And he asks him if building a casino is allowed or not. And Nana says she'll look into it. Then James walks into the office, and he's finally sure that there is a secret behind their dad's murder. And they confirm their suspicions are legit. They head to the police station with the recording. But suddenly a Yakuza gang car slams into them and attacks, and they start shooting at them. Johnny jumps out and tries to help his brother. James's car is about to flip over, so James tries to get out and jump on the gang's car. Johnny warns him and screams at him to jump. They blow up the car and dip before the cops show up, but the cops catch up and bust them. The captain says Johnny's suspended. He's pinning all the drama on them. He won't even look at the security footage. He kicks them out of his office. Then they head back home. They sit down and go over all the details. They realize the property belongs to a businessman named Marcus. Nana tells them there's a fundraiser happening soon. Johnny suggests they pull up to it, and James is vibing at the party. And Johnny meets this woman who turns out to be Marcus's wife. He tells her he's Walter's son, so she's shocked and gets all anxious. She asks him to meet her after the party at the hotel he's staying at to tell him some major secrets. Suddenly, Marcus's guys show up and tell James and Johnny to come with them, and they go to the basement to meet Marcus. There they find out Walter was their dad, and they start asking about what he knew about their dad. So he tells them Walter had reached out to him before to spy on his wife and make sure she isn't cheating. Johnny straight up accuses him of being the killer. Marcus gets pressed and totally denies killing anyone. Johnny notices some severed fingers on the table and realizes they're someone else's. Then Marcus tells them to leave, and Marcus laughs as they're heading out, but he's actually fuming at his wife for all the drama she caused him. So he decides to get rid of her, and the next day, Johnny hits up the hotel and is shocked by a crowd and the police and an ambulance on the scene. So he gets closer and finds a body. When he gets a good look, he realizes it's Marcus's wife and she's been murdered. Johnny gets absolutely livid. He hits up the hotel where Marcus is staying and storms the place. He wrecks the security guards until he gets to him, but his goons tase him until he drops. Marcus tells him he didn't fight anyone and calls the cops. He accuses Johnny of trespassing on his property. Their Uncle Peter shows up at the jail. He tells Johnny the whole thing was a massive mess. He managed to talk Marcus into dropping the charges. He tells him to just forget what happened and make peace with his brother. Johnny thanks him and heads out. As soon as he's out, James comes up to talk to him, but Johnny is heated and plans on leaving for good. And when James brings up their mom, the two of them get into a massive fight. They keep swinging at each other until they're gassed. In the end, James wins. Johnny tells James he needed him when their mom was killed. He admits he messed up by leaving him back then, and he's not gonna make that mistake again. And that he'll have his back and help him get revenge for their dad. And this really hits Johnny hard. He apologizes for what he said before, and they head back home. Lila snaps at them for acting like kids and always fighting, and they promise her they won't do it again. Then Johnny gets a call from his girl. He's super hyped to talk to her since he missed her. She tells him she tried to hit him up before, and his inbox was full, and she even went to his place, but he wasn't there. When she checks the mail, she finds an envelope with a thumb drive in it. Johnny realizes it's from his dad. He tells her to get to Hawaii ASAP, and she's totally annoyed. She says she's not coming, but we see she actually made it to the Hawaii airport. Johnny's stressing while waiting for her, and James calms him down. When she gets there, she says she's only staying for one day, then dipping. She says hi to James and Becca. Then they hop in the car. On the way, Becca tries to crack the code on the drive. He finds out it's super complex and will take weeks. James hands him the paper with the weird words that were on the paper from his dad, hoping it helps. And Johnny tries to make up with Valentine and gets close, but she shuts him down. James and Becca tell him to pipe down, then they get jumped by Yakuza gang while a chopper overhead opens fire, and Valentine takes the wheel for James as they try to shoot back, and the Yakuza show up on bikes, and Valentine slams the brakes and flips them, but the heat keeps coming. They break into the car, and a wild brawl breaks out, and Johnny takes one out while James finishes the other and tosses him out, and that chopper is still on their tail. So, James hits the pilot and manages to crash the plane. But it loops back around, gets close, and is about to blow up on them, and they manage to get away. Then Becca manages to crack the code. He finds bank accounts and transfers worth $12 million, all of them, from Marcus to Peter the governor. They realize that's the real reason for building the casino. Meanwhile, Nana is talking to her Uncle Peter. She confronts him with the plans while he plays it cool. He takes her and leaves. When Johnny and the crew get back home, they find out Layla's gone. Her phone's still there, and everyone's low-key panicking. The whole place is a mess. James finds the kids, and they're okay. But then Johnny gets a random call from Marcus. He tells him he snatched Nana and Layla. If they don't hand over the drive, he'll kill them, then he hangs up. James decides to move out right away, and he hits up the secret armory. They're gearing up for the hit. They storm the villa at night. Taking out the guards one by one, Johnny makes some noise. When the guards swarm him, D as tenab doing well in live. We neutral sinks when you core. Milievs get a sorry set. And some are examulated to broglurd site. Double operation, there a make some like pre-check then moviu when you crude. And it was nil bore do 30 age those stromly bakris or hybe. Everywhere was only merpic unitio after, and no crude. Ho someone a mocker. And as beating manero or Lockeries wanna blide to a lasting with. He jumps them and finishes them off while James helps. Marcus tries calling the guards outside, but nobody's picking up. Then the power goes out too. They tell the guard to go check out what's wrong. He finds the wires have been cut. Once he's done, he calms him down. James asks them not to tell Layla what happened. Then they head inside and free Layla and Nana. Layla asks him to go back with Johnny, saying they'll find a way to escape so he can go finish his revenge on Marcus. James goes back and faces off with the Yakuza boss. He starts shooting and James takes cover, but the boss comes at him with a sword. They get into a crazy fight while Johnny's low-key chasing Marcus and spots him getting the boat ready to escape. Johnny asks Marcus to keep the fight hand to hand, and Marcus agrees. They start throwing hands, and it's clear Marcus is a beast at martial arts. He drops Johnny a few times, and James finally takes out the gang leader. But Marcus stabs Johnny with a hook and messes him up bad. James rushes over once he's done. Marcus decides to finish Johnny off and drags him away. He tells him that nobody can touch him and that he's gonna be a loser forever. Johnny catches him off guard by showing him the bombs at the port, and those bombs blow Marcus up. Johnny falls into the ocean. James sees what's going down. He jumps in right after him to save him. He pulls him out and tells him he's gonna be fine. The next day, Peter gets busted for bribery and a bunch of other charges. He's absolutely fuming that his family turned on him after everything he did for them. He asks them for help, but they say no and just walk away. After over a month on the beach, everyone's having a blast. Johnny says goodbye to his mom one last time. He feels like he finally got justice for her. Kai surprises him, but he's not here to take him out this time. He thanks him for what he did. He tells him he got Marcus off their backs, who is causing nothing but drama. In return, he's gonna leave him alone, give him the name of the guy who killed his mom, and head out. Johnny goes back and tells James, and James says he's down for whatever decision they make together. He's always got his back, and they find out they're bagging $12 million from their uncle. They decide to just live their best lives and burn the paper. And that's how the movie ends. If you vibed with the video, make sure to drop a like and sub to the channel so you get all the latest updates. Your support really means the world to us. And that's a wrap. See you in the next video. Peace.